Human blood dripped as Emily Reed's tortured screams echoed through the alien ship. "The human female's suffering is most unfortunate," Raxor sighed, his elongated blue fingers flicking through hollow images of the torture. "Kralok's radical sect has gone too far this time." Xyloth shifted on his many-jointed legs. Why would they target one human girl? Raxor's obsidian eyes glinted. Her father is Stephen Reed, the human strategist. They think breaking her will force him to expose Earth's defenses. Raxor waved a spindly arm, projecting a glowing map of the galaxy. Myriad planets were marked in Ocampa script. "For millennia, we Ocampa have explored the stars. Humanity is young in comparison." His long finger jabbed at the Sol system. "Yet they advance with alarming speed. Already they've expanded beyond their homeworld." Raxor's voice lowered. "Kralok believes humans threaten us, that conquering them is our only hope." He shook his bulbous head. "Fool! Our people have not survived by provoking wars." The shimmering image of Earth enlarged, oceans and continents resolving. "I fear Kralok has badly misjudged humans," Raxor murmured. "They are far more dangerous than he realizes." Xyloth shifted nervously. "What will they do?" "I cannot say, but I suspect we will witness the true depths of human wrath, and it may doom us all." Raxor's large eyes narrowed as he continued. When news reached Earth of Emily Reed's capture, her father Stephen was shaken to his core. But rather than crumbling under the weight of despair, he channeled his anguish into unwavering resolve. Xyloth leaned forward, his interest piqued. What did he do? Stephen and his team hatched a daring plan. Instead of caving to the extremists' demands, they chose to take action. Raxor's voice lowered to a conspiratorial whisper. They activated an ancient human warship, the EAS Titan, which had been hidden away for centuries in a secret location. Raxor nodded. Few have. The Titan is a relic from a bygone era when humans were far more militaristic. It boasts advanced weaponry and shielding beyond anything we Ocampa possess. The humans kept its existence a closely guarded secret, even from their own people. "And Stephen Reed knew of this ship?" Xyloth asked. "He was one of the few entrusted with its activation codes," Raxor confirmed. "So when the Titan suddenly appeared in Ocampa space, seemingly out of nowhere, it caught us completely off guard. We had no idea how to respond to such a massive and powerful vessel." Xyloth shifted uneasily. "What did Kralok do?" "He threatened to kill the girl if the Titan didn't surrender." Raxor shook his head, but Stephen Reed remained calm. He delivered an ultimatum: release Emily unharmed or face the consequences. They realized the gravity of the situation and ordered Kralok to stand down and free the human girl. But Kralok, in his arrogance and hatred, refused to comply. Raxor leaned back. Faced with Kralok's continued defiance, Stephen Reed did something completely unexpected. He used the Titan's advanced teleportation to beam directly onto the extremist's ship. "What? How?" Xyloth exclaimed. "Our shields are impenetrable." "So apparently not to the Titan's technology," Raxor said. "It seems the humans have been developing capabilities far beyond what we realized in secret for many years." "So Stephen Reed himself confronted Kralok?" Xyloth asked. Raxor nodded. He materialized right in front of Kralok and demanded his daughter's release. Kralok, not anticipating Stephen's boldness, tried to capture him too. "I assume that didn't go well for Kralok." "Indeed not. Despite our physical advantages, humans are renowned for their fighting skills and sheer tenacity." Stephen quickly overpowered Kralok and his guards. "Yes, but not before Kralok revealed something disturbing. He claimed we Ocampa have been secretly spying on Earth for years, gathering data on their defenses and society." Xyloth frowned. "For what purpose?" "Kralok believes that intel is key for a future invasion of Earth, one he sees as inevitable." Faye was shocked, of course, but he also realized he needed to act fast to safeguard his world and people. Raxor continued recounting the incredible tale. Using the Titan's advanced teleportation, Stephen Reed transported himself and Emily back to the safety of the human ship. Once aboard, he immediately sought out his first officer, David Martinez. Stephen briefed the stunned crew on the shocking revelation. The Ocampa had been secretly spying on Earth for years, gathering critical intel on humanity's defenses and society. Indeed, Raxa agreed. Reed wasted no time in contacting our leaders directly. He presented irrefutable evidence of the illicit surveillance and issued an ultimatum: cease all espionage activities against Earth immediately and swear to never again interfere in human affairs. And the Council simply acquiesced, without any attempt at negotiation or defense of their actions. Xyloth found it difficult to believe they would capitulate so readily. Raxa's eyes glinted with a hint of admiration. The humans had them outmaneuvered. The Council knew they had badly underestimated Earth's capabilities and resolve. To defy Stephen Reed's demands would be to invite full-scale war with a species whose tenacity and ingenuity we had only begun to witness. A prospect they dared not risk. So they agreed to Reed's terms, Xyloth surmised. They had little choice. With the matter settled to his satisfaction, Stephen prepared to return to Earth with his daughter, but not before delivering a parting warning to all Ocampa. Raxa's voice grew somber. Any future acts of aggression against humanity would be met with swift and severe consequences. Earth was not to be trifled with. Xyloth pondered the implications. This incident changed everything, didn't it? The balance of power between our species. Unequivocally, Raxa agreed. We Ocampa must now regard humans in a new light, as a formidable and unpredictable force in the galaxy, one we underestimate at our peril. As the EAS Titan turned prow and prepared to depart Ocampa space, Raxa fixed Xyloth with a heavy gaze. The ramifications of this incident stretch far beyond our confrontation with the humans. Xyloth tilted his oval head. What do you mean? News of Reed's actions has already spread across the galaxy. Many species are taking notice of humanity's strength and resolve in the face of our aggression. Raxa gestured to the starfield beyond the viewport. Some view humans as potential allies. Others see their rise as a threat to the established order. It seems the Earthlings have gotten everyone's attention, Xyloth mused. Raxa nodded gravely. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session to discuss the implications. They had previously dismissed humans as a minor species, no longer. Did the Council take any action against Earth? Worry tinged Xyloth's voice. No, they opted for a wait-and-see approach. Aggressive moves now could provoke the war no one wants. Raxa's long fingers steepled. But the Council has stepped up surveillance of human activities, both on their homeworld and in the stars. And the consequences of that decision, Xyloth probed. Only time will reveal the full repercussions, but one thing is certain: Earth's isolation is over. The planet has taken the galactic stage, for good or ill. Raxa turned back to the viewport, watching the Titan's engines flare against the void. I suspect Stephen Reed understands the precarious position he's placed his people in. His actions sent an unmistakable message, but that message has painted a target on humanity's back. You think other species will challenge them? Xyloth asked. I think Commander Reed and his fellow humans must remain ever vigilant in the face of the threats their defiance may unleash. Raxa's dark eyes glittered. They have proven themselves a formidable force, but I fear that force will soon be tested like never before. Raxa shifted in his seat, his expression growing pensive. The incident with the humans exposed deep divisions within our own society. Xyloth tilted his head. What do you mean? Many Ocampa were shocked by Kralok's actions. They saw it as a betrayal of our values, our commitment to peace. Raxa's long fingers tapped the console. But others, they viewed Kralok as a hero, someone willing to stand up to the humans and assert Ocampa supremacy. That's troubling, Xyloth said. How did the government respond? The High Council publicly condemned Kralok, reaffirming our stance on coexistence with other species. But behind closed doors, the council is deeply divided. Raxa shook his head. Some want a more aggressive approach to the humans. Others urge caution and diplomacy. "And what do you think will happen?" Xyloth asked. "I fear these divisions will have consequences for years to come. Different factions pushing their own agendas." Raxa's obsidian eyes met Xyloth's. "It could destabilize our society from within." Xyloth absorbed this sobering assessment. And the humans, how are they handling the aftermath? As the Titan returned to Earth, Stephen Reed and his crew were hailed as heroes. Their story captured the human imagination, a symbol of their resilience and strength. Indeed, the incident thrust him into the spotlight, but it also exposed vulnerabilities in Earth's defenses. Raxa leaned forward. Reed knew the real work was just beginning. He and his allies started building a new coalition of human leaders to guide their species through the challenges ahead, the opportunities and dangers of the wider galaxy. Raxa's voice grew heavy with implication. Humanity's isolation has ended. For better or worse, their fate is now intertwined with the rest of us. Xyloth pondered this. The galaxy changed the instant Stephen Reed appeared on Kralok's ship. "Yes," Raxa agreed. "We're witnessing the emergence of a new force, one that has the potential to reshape the established order." "And how do you think the other species will react?" Xyloth asked. Raxa's expression darkened. "Some will seek to court the humans as allies. Others will try to control or subdue them. There are those who fear what an ascendant Earth means for their own power." "A dangerous game," Xyloth said. "One with stakes beyond imagining. The humans have a saying, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Our own history is littered with the bones of civilizations that underestimated a rising power." Raxa turned back to the viewport, watching the stars drift by. "I only hope that wisdom prevails, that our species can find a path to coexistence, because the alternative—" He trailed off, unwilling to voice the dark future he feared. Xyloth joined him at the viewport, sharing in the uneasy silence. The galaxy had entered a new era, one shaped by the actions of a single human. Only time would reveal the ultimate consequences of Stephen Reed's fateful stand. "Emily's response to her ordeal is truly remarkable," Raxa mused, his elongated fingers steepled in contemplation. "Despite the trauma inflicted upon her, she has emerged with a strength of purpose that belies her youth." Xyloth nodded, his multiple eyes blinking in unison. Indeed, many would have been left broken, their spirits shattered by such an experience. And yet, this human girl has chosen to use her pain as a catalyst for change. Raxa leaned back in his seat, his obsidian gaze fixed on the starscape beyond the viewport. "She speaks passionately about the need for understanding between our species, for open dialogue and mutual respect. Her words carry weight, even among those who once viewed humans with suspicion or disdain." "It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit," Xyloth agreed. "Despite their physical limitations, they possess an inner strength that allows them to adapt and overcome, even in the face of great adversity." Raxa's expression grew thoughtful. "Emily's message is gaining traction on Earth, but it has also caught the attention of other civilizations. Some see her as a potential bridge, a means to foster greater cooperation between humans and the wider galaxy." "And others?" Xyloth asked, sensing the unspoken reservation in his companion's tone. "Others view her as a symbol of human arrogance, a threat to the established order." Raxa's voice lowered, his words heavy with implication. "The Galactic Council, in particular, is closely monitoring her activities. They see her as an unknown variable, a potential wildcard in the delicate balance of power." Xyloth shifted uneasily, his multi-jointed limbs clicking against the polished floor. "And what of Stephen Reed? How does he factor into this equation?" "Reed continues to build alliances among his own people, working tirelessly to unite the fractured factions of Earth. He recognizes the challenges that lie ahead, the threats that loom on the horizon." Raxa's gaze drifted back to the stars, as if seeking answers in their cold, unwavering light. He works closely with Emily and other advocates for peace, leveraging their influence to shape public opinion and guide policy. Together they seek to forge a path forward, one that ensures the safety and prosperity of their species in the face of an uncertain future. Xyloth nodded, his own thoughts turning to the implications of the humans' ascendance. The galaxy was changing, the old order giving way to new possibilities, new dangers, and at the center of it all, a young girl whose words had the power to shape the destiny of worlds. Raxa's voice cut through the silence, his tone grave and measured. The road ahead will be fraught with challenges, with obstacles both seen and unseen. But if there is one thing we have learned about humans, it is that they are not easily deterred. Xyloth met his companion's gaze, a flicker of understanding passing between them. Indeed, they are a tenacious species, driven by a fierce determination to shape their own fate. And in Emily, they have found a champion, a voice that speaks to the best of their nature. Raxor nodded, his expression a mix of admiration and trepidation. We live in interesting times, my friend. The actions of a single human girl have set in motion events that will echo across the stars. Where they will lead us, only time will tell. Raxor's obsidian eyes narrowed as he shifted the conversation to a troubling new development. The humans' actions have drawn the attention of another major power in the galaxy, the Zorgons. Xyloth leaned forward, his interest piqued. The Zorgons? I've heard they're a technologically advanced species with expansionist ambitions. Raxor nodded gravely. Indeed, and they see the humans as potential rivals for dominance. He tapped a few commands on his console, bringing up a holographic display of Zorgon ships. Our intelligence indicates the Zorgons have begun secretly funding and arming Ocampa extremist groups. Xyloth's eyes widened in alarm. They're trying to destabilize the relationship between our species and the humans, to weaken Earth's position. Precisely, Raxa confirmed. Stephen Reed and his allies have become aware of the Zorgons' machinations, thanks to Earth's spy network. They realize they now face a two-front war, the Ocampa extremists on one side, the Zorgons on the other. Xyloth shook his head. A precarious situation. How does Reed plan to respond? Raxa leaned back, steepling his long fingers. He knows he must act quickly and decisively to protect Earth's interests. He's working on a plan to expose the Zorgons' involvement and rally other galactic species to Earth's side. A risky move, Xyloth mused. It could escalate the conflict, draw other powers into the fray. Indeed, Raxa agreed. But Reed believes it's the only way to ensure Earth's long-term security. He's willing to take that gamble. Xyloth was silent for a moment, contemplating the implications. And what of Emily? How does she factor into all this? Raxa's expression softened. As tensions rise, she's redoubled her efforts to promote peace and understanding between humans and other species. She's organizing high-profile meetings, conferences, bringing leaders together to discuss ways to reduce conflict and foster cooperation. Xyloth nodded slowly. Her message is beginning to resonate, isn't it? Many see her as a voice of reason amidst the growing polarization. Xyloth met Raxa's gaze, a flicker of understanding passing between them. The galaxy was on the brink of a great upheaval, the old order straining under the weight of new powers and alliances. And at the center of it all, two humans, a father and daughter, each fighting in their own way to shape the future. Raxor's obsidian eyes glinted with excitement as he turned to Xyloth. Stephen Reed's plan to expose the Zorgons took an unexpected turn. He received a secret message from a high-ranking Zorgon official named Zorax. Raxa nodded. Indeed, but Zorax had grown disillusioned with the Zorgons' expansionist agenda. He offered Stephen concrete evidence of their meddling in exchange for asylum on Earth. What drove Zorax to such a risky move? Xyloth asked. A growing sense of moral unease, Raxa explained. Zorax wanted to prevent further bloodshed. He saw cooperating with the humans as the only way. Xyloth leaned forward, and Stephen agreed to the deal. Not immediately. He carefully considered the offer before agreeing to meet Zorax on neutral ground to discuss terms. I imagine that meeting was tense, Xyloth mused. Extremely. Both sides were wary, unsure of the other's true intentions, but Zorax proved true to his word. Raxa's fingers danced across the console, bringing up a holographic display. He provided a wealth of information about Zorgon activities, names of Ocampa extremists receiving Zorgon funding and weapons. With it, Stephen built an ironclad case against the Zorgons and presented it to the Galactic Council. Faced with incontrovertible proof, the Council had no choice but to act. Raxor leaned back, satisfaction evident in his posture. What did they do? Xyloth asked eagerly. The Council imposed severe sanctions on the Zorgon government, demanded an immediate end to their interference in other species' affairs. Raxa's voice was laced with approval. The Zorgons realized they had overplayed their hand. They were forced to back down, withdraw support for the Ocampa extremists. Xyloth shook his head in amazement. A major victory for Stephen and his allies. They outmaneuvered one of the galaxy's most powerful species. Raxa's eyes met Xyloth's, a glimmer of respect passing between them. The humans have proven themselves formidable players on the galactic stage. Their tenacity and strategic thinking should not be underestimated. Xyloth's large eyes blinked pensively as he digested Raxa's sobering assessment. So the incident with the Ocampa extremists fundamentally altered the relationship between humans and other species. Raxa nodded gravely. Indeed, many in the galaxy began to view humans not as potential allies, but as unpredictable threats. Fear and suspicion replaced curiosity and cooperation. Did this lead to further conflicts? Xyloth asked. Unfortunately, yes, Raxa confirmed. In the years that followed, there were several skirmishes and diplomatic incidents as each side sought to assert its dominance and protect its interests. Human ships were subjected to unwarranted searches. Trade agreements unraveled. Accusations flew back and forth. Xyloth shook his head. A troubling development. How did the humans respond? Stephen Reed and his allies worked tirelessly to maintain peace and stability. They advocated for open dialogue, for a return to the spirit of cooperation that had briefly flourished. Raxa's voice grew heavy. But they were constantly challenged by those who sought to undermine their efforts, both on Earth and among the stars. And Emily, what role did she play in all this? Raxa's expression softened. Emily became a respected diplomat, using her unique experience to bridge gaps and foster understanding, but as the galaxy grew more polarized, she found herself increasingly isolated and disillusioned. Xyloth leaned forward. She couldn't bring the sides together. Despite her best efforts, no. The mistrust ran too deep. The incident with the extremists had unleashed forces beyond any one individual's control. Raxa's obsidian eyes met Xyloth's. In the end, it was seen as a turning point, the beginning of a new era defined by tension and conflict. And the humans found themselves at the center of this maelstrom, Xyloth murmured. They had become a major power, yes, but at a great cost. Raxa's voice was tinged with sorrow. The very qualities that had enabled their rise, their tenacity, their ingenuity, now made them targets of resentment and fear. Xyloth was silent for a moment. And what of Stephen Reed himself? How did he fare in this brave new world? Raxor sighed. He continued to serve as a leader and defender of Earth, but the weight of his responsibilities, the constant struggle to hold back the tide of conflict, it took a heavy toll. In what way? Xyloth asked softly. He became withdrawn, isolated. He rarely spoke to anyone outside his inner circle. Raxa's gaze grew distant. Some say he never fully recovered from the trauma of his daughter's abduction, of the battles that followed. Indeed, Raxa agreed. His story and that of the Ocampa incident holds lessons for us all. about the dangers of aggression and mistrust, about the fragility of peace in a galaxy filled with fear. Xyloth leaned back, his multi-jointed limbs folding inward. And what lessons do you think we should take from it, old friend? Raxa was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice heavy with conviction. That strength and resilience, while admirable, are not enough on their own. That true, lasting stability can only be built on a foundation of diplomacy, cooperation, and mutual respect. He turned to face Xyloth fully. If we are to avoid the fate that befell the humans and so many others, we must learn to see beyond our differences, to work together in the face of challenges, rather than allowing them to drive us apart. Xyloth nodded, his own eyes reflecting the weight of Raxa's words. A difficult path, but perhaps the only one that offers hope for a better future. Indeed, Raxa said softly. For all our sakes, we must try, or the cycle of fear and conflict that engulfed the humans may well consume us all. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.